In this video it is all about the new Sonicake Matribox II Pro. This is the newest and also biggest version of the Matribox multi-effects series, and without further ado, let's start with some sound samples in a mix. And after that I will show you the whole interface and how to use it. For the tracks that you will hear now, I used factory presets with some little adjustments so that they fit to the track and the mix. The first one you will hear uses two clean presets, one with chorus and one without chorus. The only thing that I added to these two presets was a compressor in the signal chain, and I adjusted the amp's gain on the lead part. By the way, I recorded all these tracks through the USB output going directly into my Mac, so I used this pedal as my audio interface as well, and I have to say it works extremely flawless. The next track uses some more British crunchy sound presets, which are called Plexi Rhythm and Plexi Lead. The third track uses some more high gain tones. I used the same two presets for lead and rhythm guitars. I just turned off the overdrive and lowered the reverb on the rhythm parts. Okay, so this is the Matribox II Pro, and compared to the Matribox II, which I also did a video on, this one has a larger footprint. So I think the 2 had 3 foot switches only and the expression pedal, and this one has 4 foot switches down here and also 2 foot switches here, so 6 in total. And we also have the expression pedal, and we have a touch screen, which is pretty cool. And this one also has a lot of different connections, so I think there's everything you need. It has MIDI, it has aux in, headphone output, it has XLR outputs, which I now use to record, so these going into my audio interface. And of course you can also plug in another expression pedal, and you have 2 more outputs if you don't want to use XLR cables. So there's everything you need. And it also has an on and off switch, which is always cool to have. The whole interface is very simple to use. There is a manual which is pretty detailed, but I haven't used it because it is very easy to understand, at least for me. And you have multiple ways how you can navigate. So you can use the touch screen, you can use the buttons, and you can partly use the foot switches to navigate. So there are multiple options to get to your goals. Yeah, let me show you some of the basics. First of all, the tuner, pressing A and B. So you have the tuner. Then just press any button to go back. Then we are currently in preset mode. This means we can use these 4 foot switches to change between 4 different presets within one bank, We are in bank 5 at the moment, preset A, and if we want to go to another preset, we simply press one of those buttons. Now we are in preset B, preset C, preset D. And if we want to switch the banks, we have these two foot switches. If we press the +1, then we come to bank 6 and we can choose one of them. So let's take the A. And now we are in bank 6, preset A, and we can go to B, C, or D. And if we want to go back in banks, we simply use the left button, and if we want to go up, we use the right button. So that's pretty simple. We can also use the touch screen to switch between the presets, or we can use the menu control and turn it. So as I said before, there are multiple ways to navigate here. Then if we press C and D together, we have a looper, which is always nice to have. We also have a drum computer, which we can turn on here. And if we press and hold the button, we have all the settings. So we can choose between different genres and different beats. So this is also built in. And of course, we also have the Stomp mode, which you can see here on the screen. So if you tap on Stomp mode, you can get to Stomp mode, and of course back into preset mode if you press it again. But you can also enter Stomp mode if you press the bank foot switches both together. Then you can also switch between preset and Stomp mode. And Stomp mode means you use one preset like a pedal board, I would say. So this means these buttons are to turn on individual effect blocks. And you can see the colors of the foot switches are matching some of the effects you can see on the screen. That means if I press the A foot switch, this one goes on and off. B is for the drive on and off. C is for this one, which is probably a noise gate. And this is for the reverb. And of course you can change what these foot switches should do in the settings, which I will show you in a minute. But let me show you this preset again. It's the lead metal, which I also used in one of those tracks, which I showed you before. Yeah, and now I can use the foot switches to turn things on and off. So let's turn all this off. Yeah, that sounds really good, and this was the Stomp mode and it works extremely well. So let's say you want to make some adjustment on a preset like this one. Let's go back into preset mode. Then you can see these three controls where you can make like quick adjustments to certain things. Like you can change the gain here. Or the mix of, I don't know, reverb. Yeah, that's the reverb mix. And you can set the preset volume. Yeah, with these three controls you can make quick changes to your preset. But if you want to make more adjustments on certain effect blocks, then you have to press this one here in the corner, and then you are in the effect chain, and then you simply can go to whatever effect you want. Like this is the overdrive pedal. You can turn it on and off. You can see which type of overdrive it is. It is a screamer, and if you tap on it, you have like all the options, so you can change the overdrive to a distortion if you want. or use a different type of overdrive. So that's all very simple. And now you can see the three parameters of the overdrive. So you have gain, tone, and volume. And of course you can now adjust this as well. Let's choose another one. I think you can also use the touch screen to change. Yeah, you can use that as well. I mean, it's not the best way to make like very fine tunings on the settings, but it also works to use the touch screen here, but it's easier to use the controls instead. Then you can go to the amp, for example, and you can do the same here. You can turn it on and off. Here you can change the type of amp. And you also have all the parameters here. You have gain, presence, volume, and you can go on the right here and you have bass, middle, treble, and that's it. So you can make all the adjustments here as well. So let's choose a different amp. So the whole interface is very intuitive and easy to understand, in my opinion. And as you can see here, you can of course add more effects or different effects. Let's say we want to add a wah pedal. Then we simply have to press, hold it, and we can move it into our effect chain and we can place it wherever we want. Usually we want to have it first. So now we have a wah pedal here. The issue with the wah pedal is that the expression pedal here usually is set to volume, so that means it just lowers and increases the volume. But we can change this to the wah pedal, and we can change this by simply pressing the control button here. And there we have the menu to like adjust these foot switches and also the expression pedal. We have to go to expression 1A, which is this one, and then we can simply use this control to change between like this being a volume pedal or something else. So we can trigger the reverb, cabinets, like compressors or the noise gate, amp, drive, dynamic, wah. So everything which is in your effects chain you can like trigger with this expression pedal. In this case, we want the wah pedal, and the standard default mode was volume. So let's change it to wah, then go back, and now this works like a proper wah pedal. So it is very simple to understand. Like I said, the whole menus and all the interface is very simple and very easy to understand. And let's go back to the control menu, because here you can also change these foot switches. So let's say we want to have control 1 triggering the wah pedal. Then we simply have to press to wah and then also press this one, because we don't want that both of these are turned on when we press control 1. Okay, and now when we are in stomp mode, if I press A, the wah pedal goes on. If I press it again, it turns off. Yeah, and if you want to save all your changes to a preset, then you simply have to press the save button and you can give it a funny name and then you can save it wherever you want to. And what's also here is the effect knob. Yeah, it does the same as if you press here on the effect chain. So as you can see, there are always multiple ways how to get into those menus. Okay, so let's go through some more presets. This one we had on one of the intro tracks, on the clean track. It was one of the rhythm guitars, and I think the second rhythm guitar was another clean. It was this, it was super clean. Yeah, this one and the chorus one were mixed together and it sounds really, really cool. I have to say some of these presets aren't that good in my opinion, so they need some kind of tweaking. I found myself very comfortable with the lead metal. I don't know, I think it sounds pretty decent on its own. When I used it for the track, I made some smaller adjustments, like for the rhythm part, I turned off the drive pedal and the compressor, but I haven't made any major changes to the presets. Yeah, but I think this one sounds really decent for a high gain guitar sound. But there are also a few others which are decent. But I think usually they need a little bit of tweaking. Sometimes they have too much effects within. Yeah, but as you saw before, it's very easy to adjust. You can get some really great tones out of this pedal. Okay, now let's jump into the drum computer once. Here you can change the tempo. Let's take another beat. Yeah, very straightforward, works really well. And now let's go into the looper and we can loop to a drum track, I think. So let's start drums and then start loop. Yeah, it definitely works, but I think the guitar sound was too distorted because you could hear that the sound was a little bit muddy when both of the guitars were in, when I added the overdub. But if you want to use it to jam along to a little chord progression, it definitely works very well. And I just scratched the surface here. I think there is a lot more possible. Of course, the Matribox II Pro comes with its own software for Mac and Windows. So I use this software on my Mac and I've connected the Matribox II Pro via USB-C to my Mac. And this is how the software interface looks like. And it's pretty much the same interface as on the device itself. but with a much better overview. For example, you have all the presets here on the left, and you can just click on any preset and you are directly on that preset. And same with the signal chain, so you can click on any effect block and then make the changes here. So as you can see, you have these faders here. It's much better visualized compared to the device itself if you edit the presets on the device. So if you want a better overview, this is the way to go. You have all the parameters at once and you can see where the parameters are. Of course, you can also load in IRs, so you can simply take an IR here and remove the cap and load an IR if you want, so that's of course also possible. And yeah, so as I said before, the software works pretty much the same as the interface on the device itself. Pretty simple and also pretty self-explaining in my opinion, so that's great. Okay, I hope you now have a decent overview of the new Sonicake Matribox II Pro, and I think this pedal is pretty impressive. It is built very sturdy. Of course, the housing is made out of metal. Also, all the knobs and foot switches seem to be pretty high quality as well, so they don't feel cheap or anything like that. The expression pedal has a pretty rough grip on top, which I think makes a lot of sense and I really like that. The touchscreen works surprisingly well and it makes the whole workflow much easier when you need to edit presets on the device itself. The sound quality is on a pretty high level, I would say, although I think the stock presets could be a bit better. But with a little tweaking here and there, you can get some pretty good and high quality guitar tones with this device. And I think if you would use IRs with this pedal, then you could level up the sounds even more. The built-in drum computer and the looper are a great addition, especially if you want to use this pedal for practicing. But I think you could also use this pedal very well for live gigs, rehearsals, and in general in a band context, since it's built very sturdy and it has a decent size. Overall, I think Sonicake did a great job on this one. The current price is 299 euros or dollars, which I think is a very good price for what you get here. This pedal is available on Amazon and of course you can find a link to it down below in the video description. Alright, now let me know what you think about the new Sonicake Matribox II Pro down in the comments. Also, please make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video and don't forget to subscribe if you are new here, and I will see you in the next video.